In the game of football, there's something called an armchair quarterback. That's a person who sits on the couch and confidently critiques the game while others on the playing field actually do battle. My adventure began with a phone message left by a friend of mine that I've known for over 40 years.
Yo, Ron, this is Russ. Thinking about going to Nepal. I know you're a big fan of Mount Everest. Just give me a call back if you're interested. Bye.
Well, it's true. I had read many books about Mount Everest, which meant that I knew where it was in a country called Nepal, inside of India, bordering on Tibet. But I also knew that it was about as far away as you can get from Malvern, Pennsylvania. It was on the other side of the world. I called Russ back, said no thank you to his offer, but I did go on the internet and purchase a book on Nepal. In the 1800s, Nepal was a forbidden place, protected by a mysterious and lethal disease we now know as malaria. That rule of law kept this secret place of mountain peaks that seemingly touched the sky unvisited for many years. It was at this point that I actually started thinking about going. I mean, after all, what did mountain climbers like Edmund Hillary and Reinhold Messner and Ed Viesturs have that I didn't have? I think I started seeing myself for the first time as an armchair mountaineer. I didn't like that very much. So I went to my family for advice to see what they would think.
When Ron told me he was going to Mount Everest, I was dead set against it. I didn't like it in any fashion. I thought he was going to climb Mount Everest and be in danger all the time.
The first time I heard about it, I was a little skeptical and a little nervous. Conditions today all over the world are so bad, and he's done a lot of traveling, but he's never been that far away, and I understood that he was going to be out of communication with us for a while.
The very first time Ron mentioned Mount Everest to me, I assumed he was going to climb Mount Everest, which I knew was a very dramatic, dangerous thing for him to be undertaking at his age with no experience. But then as I understood the program, that it was going to be an adventure vacation, he was training, he was going with friends, he was going to Colorado, and climbing mountains there. I felt he was prepared, and I really wasn't that concerned about it, and I thought it was a good thing for him to do.
I think in looking back, what it came down to is I said to myself, hey Ron, if you don't go now while you're in your 50s, then when are you going? And of course the answer was never. So I called Russ back and said, let's go. Let's go to Mount Everest, not to climb it, but simply to look at it, up close and personal. But first, I needed to get in shape and lose some weight. Losing 20 pounds in 6 months, and I was ready. Philadelphia to Los Angeles, to Hong Kong, to Bangkok, to Kathmandu. When I first laid eyes on the Himalayan range, where 9 of the world's 14 tallest mountains exist, I began to get a sense of what was in store for us.
Everything's fine, Ron. We made it here in one piece. That was great. And it's a really neat view out this huge window. And the airport is very nice.
There really is no way to describe the traffic in Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal, except to say that you're liable to see anything. There's no road rage, but there's also no rules. Things calm down a bit when you get up into the hills above the city. Here too, the roads were a constant challenge, always in need of repair. Keep in mind that this is a two-way road. The quest was to give ourselves 7 days to get to Tengboche Monastery, which was at 12,700 feet, where we were promised a beautiful unobstructed view of Mount Everest. Working our way to the Kathmandu airport, we found our hired plane, which would whisk us away on a 45-minute flight to the tiny Lukla airstrip above 9,000 feet. The pilot seemed friendly enough as I fastened my seatbelt, ready for our first look at the tallest mountain on Earth. Mount Everest stands over 29,000 feet high. To give you some idea of how high that is, that's 23 Empire State Buildings, one on top of the other. We were looking at 65 million years of evolution, because that's when India crashed into Eurasia and began forming the Himalaya. Think about it. The top of Everest used to be underwater. Since the mountains all around us are over 20,000 feet high, you have to actually go down inside of them to find the small Lukla airstrip, which is carved out of the side of a mountain and greatly slanted uphill. Once you find it, you cut the engines, put the plane into a stall, hit the runway, and apply the brakes quickly. It was here that we met Pasang, our Sherpa expedition leader, who had already assembled several porters to carry our gear. It was at this point in our adventure that I realized we were truly in another world. Everywhere you looked, there were indescribable scenes of beauty, and towering above all were those jaw-dropping mountains. Prayer flags were tied to bridges, and as the words written in ink wear off the cloth, so do the prayers travel up to the gods. The adventure began to get a little dangerous, and while crossing the raging Bodhi Kosi River, Russ broke his foot and needed immediate medical attention. This was the Khumbu region of Nepal, Sagarmatha National Park, where all Sherpas are born. Sherpas are an ethnic group of Tibetan stock. Most live in villages above 12,000 feet and are therefore able to function well at high altitudes. A land of extraordinary views by day, and the Sherpas would dance for us by night.
This morning was the first morning when we woke up when it's definitely below freezing.
The next day we realized that Russ could not continue on crutches, and it looked like the adventure might be over. But then we remembered a horse we had seen in a village the day before, and the Sherpas assured us that if we could locate the horse, that horse could carry Russ. As we came upon the village of Namche Bazaar, the Sherpa capital, we were just 2 days from our goal. Namche is a remarkable town that first saw electricity in 1995. It is the central trading place for Tibetans to bring and sell their wares.
So how you doing?
Well, I was telling these guys, I literally go vertical on the horse on some of these places. Straight down, straight up. So it's exciting. He likes that.
And by night, the Sherpas would dance. The Sherpa version of beer is called Chang. It sits all day brewing above a cozy fire and is made from rice or corn. From one adventurer to another, stay away from Chang. Otherwise, you may find yourself doing bad Billy Joel impressions.
And it's sweet, and I knew it complete when I wore a younger man's clothes.
Except for my hangover, things were going great. And then, the horse ran away. But from what we had learned from the Sherpa, they are a very resourceful people. Someone got the idea to take our camp trash basket and simply fashion it into a chair for Russ, which was carried by a porter. And we were on our way. Finally, we made it. Temboche Monastery, 12,700 feet, and as promised, a glorious view of Mount Everest. What did I learn from this adventure? Well, at least 3 things. First, that Nepal is a beautiful country, a land that time forgot. Second, that sometimes to really experience what life has to offer, you simply have to get up off the couch. And third, that there's no place like home.
When he called me on Sunday night, I was really relieved that he was home and back in the good old USA.
Very anxious to hear every detail about what went on, about the country and the people, and of course the mountains.
I feel it was a great adventure for him, a life-altering opportunity, and he had a great time.